Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we're going to be talking about pants, specifically the finest of Finnish pants available out there. I mean, there may be other Finnish pants available, but certainly very happy with these. These are from Varusteleka and I actually have two pairs. I am currently wearing the Varusteleka L4 field pants, and I have in my hands here the Varusteleka L4 combat pants. Now they do have some similarities between the two, which we will have a look at, and then we'll have a look at the subtle differences as well. Now before I start, what I would say is that the field pants, these are more of a base. So what you'll find, especially when we have a look at the combat pants, is pretty much every feature that is on the field pants is on these, whereas the combat, because these are designed to be a modern military pair of pants whilst out doing modern military kind of stuff, these have some specific features that have been added to these. Both great for everyday wear. I have worn these to the office, I have worn these out and about town. I've certainly worn the field pants a lot more, but then when it comes to the combat pants, having put in a couple of game days, a couple of days skirmishing with these, playing some airsoft, I've got different experiences with both of them, as you would expect, with one being a field pant and one being some combat pants. Now a little bit about me, just in case you're concerned about sizing. So I'm 5'10", I weigh 100 kilos, which is 220 pounds. I have a 34/35 inch waist, which is stupid because I've always been an in-between kind of guy. Now when I originally got these, I have these in a size large, which is a 36 inch waist. I could have gone for the lower size and got them in a 34 inch waist, and in hindsight that probably would have been better. We'll talk about the kind of the sizing with these. They do wear baggy, so they do have an extra little bit of kind of room in these. I could have probably got them in the 34, but at the time I had got a 36 inch waist. I've lost a little bit of weight since I've had these, so going down a size. But I will say that some of the elastic kind of setup that they have on here, it's not really concerned me that I went for the larger size. They have got things built into them so that you can adjust that size, but other than that they fit me perfectly. So they are a regular leg, and they fit perfectly as a regular leg. With the combat versions, there is a bungee that goes from the inside of your pocket down to the knee so that you can raise them. But I've actually took the bungee out because I found that they fit perfectly anyway, so it's not been a problem. The materials that both of these, they're both made from the same material, which is a really nice, tough, fine ripstop material, which is it's almost 50-50. So let's just pretend, I'll put the exact kind of makeup here, but it's cotton. It's like 50-50 cotton, 50-50 polyamide, which is just a posh word for nylon, but then there is just an extra 2%, so like I say, it's kind of 50-50 of elastin in there, and that elastin just allows a little bit of stretch. Now because of the roominess of these pants, I've not really needed to concern myself with that stretch too much. I've probably found it more beneficial in the combat pants, again having skirmished in these, climbing in through windows, climbing the stupid stuff that you get up to whilst you're out skirmishing. I have found that it's been noticed in these. However, in the in the field pants, I certainly haven't had any issues with these, or I've not noticed it as much, or I've not needed it as much. Colours wise, both of these are available in a few different flat colours. So I have the field pants in Ranger Green, but you can get them in black. I think you can get both of these in multicam, but because of I love the Finnish MO5 camo. I have a few items in this Finnish Woodland MO5. It's freaking awesome, and I think some days, maybe not so much today because the seasons are changing, but in the moorlands this camo does work really well. But yes, you can get both of these. You can get both of these in the MO5 camo. The only other materials that are on here is there is some Cordura. So on the knees you have a Cordura panel, and then also, which I do like, and a lot of manufacturers don't do this, so I like the nice little touch that they've got on here. So on the cuffs for the legs, rather than it just being the same material that you get everywhere else, especially if you're walking on this or you're doing a lot of activities where this is kind of rubbing against things, so this also has Cordura here down on the bottom. Now, as I mentioned, so what we'll do is we'll have a look at the field pants first, and then we'll have a look at the combat pants afterwards. Because as I mentioned, so a lot of the features on the combat pants we can kind of gloss over, mainly because pretty much everything that you'll find on the field pants you'll find on the combats. So let's turn the camera around ever so slightly to look at the field pants first. Now, starting at the waist with the belt loops on here, the belt loops are nice and tough, and they're also nice and wide as well. You get 6 belt loops, so you have 2 here at the front, you have 2 here just off your love handles, and then you have 2 right at the back, here and here. Especially useful if you've got a lot in these, or if it is that you've got these and they're wet. Having those 2 at the back certainly gives you plenty of kind of, you know, something to hang them off. Underneath the loops, so here at the front, they also have 2 kind of accessory loops on here. The ones that are also on your hips, they have the accessory loops, whereas the ones at the back, they don't have them. So if it is that you're out and you're doing some what would you be doing? You'd be doing some bushcraft, then you can attach something to here, and then you can make sure that it stays in your pocket. Or if it is that you've got something that maybe you've got some keys, that you can attach these onto here and they'll go straight into your pocket as well. Now, as far as the waist closure is concerned, it is a zip fly. The zips on here, so these are Croco zips. Now, Croco zips are European zips that have been around since the 1940s. Certainly if you're much they have to be YKK, certainly don't concern yourselves. Croco zips are just as good as the YKK alternatives. But yes, so you have a zip on here. The closure at the top is a Canadian button, so rather than just having a single button on there, the Canadian button itself, where the webbing is that holds the Canadian button on, it actually kind of flops around just a little bit. But that just means that if you do need to adjust your trousers through the day, having that ability so that the button will move with the trousers certainly adds an extra layer of comfort to them. Now, I did mention, so I am a kind of a 34-35 inch waist, but these are a 36, and even then I'd say as a 36 they're more like a 37 inch waist because of the extra kind of room that you get with them. Now, if you don't like baggy trousers, then I would say size down, but now I'll show you these on the combat pants because it does exactly the same on the field pants. So on here you have these tabs, and all you have to do is undo the tab and pull on this, and there is an elastic bit on the inside that will then pull that in, and then you can do the same on the other side. It's a lot easier when you've got them on. In fact, if you have them on and then you just reach back, hold these tabs and then pull them forward, which for me would be to hold them here, pull them forward ever so slightly. I mean, that was an over exaggerated kind of maneuver there, and what it will do is it will just bunch this together at the back. Now, I will say that the bunching at first, when you first put them on, you notice the bunching. However, once you've had them on for 10 minutes, you don't even notice the bunching at all. I'm wearing this with quite a thick garrison belt. This is the garrison belt from Core Essentials, and I don't even notice that underneath. So yeah, no issues with that whatsoever. Now on the front here, as far as the pockets are concerned, these pockets are humongous, and I mean humongous. So I've got a 9-inch span, exactly from there to there is 9 inches. I can put that in there and it still rattles round. So that's there, if I just do that. So that's probably an extra inch. And the depth on these is great as well. If you need to put something in your pockets, you don't need to concern yourself with these. So at the moment, I've got a flashlight in there, and on this side I have my mobile phone, and I also have my wallet as well. Now, one of the big differences with these pants is, as you may get with some other pants, is they would have butt pockets, and these don't. There are no butt pockets on here whatsoever. The Finnish kind of mentality or Varusteleka's idea with this is, if you need to have something in your pocket, you don't want to sit on that and kind of it affect you whilst you're sat down. So instead, these front pockets are almost kind of multifunctional. So you have your normal pocket, and where normally on a pair of trousers or jeans you'd have that extra thin little pocket where you'd keep a small knife or like a Zippo lighter, they have a secondary pocket in here which is big enough that I can fit in a mobile phone with a 6.8-inch screen. So much so, if you can see, so let me just put this in another pocket here. Here is the normal pocket, and then here is that extra pocket. I can put my entire hand into this extra pocket. If it is that you are the type that like to do maybe a range day, that sort of stuff, and you want to put a magazine into here, you can certainly do that. You can fit 5.56, you can fit 7.62 magazines into here with no issues. And for me, the mobile phone in there is just a perfect pocket for that. I'm a butt pocket carry kind of guy for my wallets, so instead I fit my wallet in here, and rather than putting it in that way, I can put it in width-wise and it will still fit my wallet in there, and I don't have any issues being able to withdraw it. I really do like the pockets on these. I do miss, I'm not going to lie, I do miss the butt pockets. However, because the way that they have these pockets set up, having these secondary internal pockets is really nice. Now, other than your fairly kind of traditional pockets here, the only other pockets are here on the side. So you have one on each thigh, as you kind of expect with a lot of cargo style pants. The pockets themselves have two closures. Now, for me, I keep this button closed mainly because if you keep that closed, you can still ever so slightly get your hand in through the back of here. In fact, oh, I've got some Ranger beads, there you go. These are in Ranger green, and I've got some Ranger beads in that pocket as well. But so you can still just get your hand in there, and it just means that if these were to come up and the Velcro on here was to lift, then you still have that button there that keeps them in place. So to make sure that the flap does stay down, you have some hook and loop either side of another really tough large Canadian button. I've not, at least with these, I haven't had any experience of kind of getting in and out of these having to wear gloves. Whereas with the combat version, because I've used those on skirmishing days, then the fact that that nice large button is there on the side is great. You certainly don't have any issues being able to get in there whilst you're wearing gloves. Now the size of these pockets is huge, so there's plenty of gusseting on here, so that if you need to kind of fill these with something, you can fit a family of 5 in here with no issues whatsoever. And when this comes back down, so it has like an internal kind of garage, so that you put the button into that, and it means that the button is protected from anything kind of scraping that on the outside. Yeah, really nice pockets. I really do appreciate the size of these. Now then, going down the knee, so this is where some of that cordura comes in. The cordura on here just is there to make sure that if you do need to take a knee at any point, that you can do, and you can rest assured that you are going to protect it. Behind here, this is a pocket, so as you'd expect, there is some hook and loop here at the bottom so that you can undo that and you can get a, I'd say a minimalist pad in there. You probably could fit a larger pad, but nothing too large. I think it would probably just get in the way, but you can fit a pad into there. Coming then down the leg, everything is pretty kind of normal after that. You get down to the cuff at the bottom, and this also is where some more of that cordura comes in. So rather than just having a normal hem at the bottom, that cordura comes all the way around 360 degree around that cuff to make sure that if this is rubbing on something, or you have your boots off and you're just walking on the floor and you want to protect this cuff, then it will do that. There's an extra thing that I do quite like about these as well, is you also have some Velcro. So if you have some boots, or at least if it is that it's the winter time, as you'd expect with a finished pair of pants like this, you can batten those down. You put your boots on, pull this on tight, ratchet, maybe not ratchet, but you know, pull that bit round to make sure that they're going to grip onto your boots, and it will also make sure that no kind of snow gets up there, which, as I mentioned, for a Finnish brand like this makes total sense. And these, so as I mentioned, so these are the field pants. So now I'm wearing the combat pants, but there was something that I noticed that I forgot to mention when I took these off, and that is that you do have, so if I just do these up for a second, so here on the field pants, hopefully you'll see that there are some attachment points, so that if you have some suspenders or some braces, you can attach these to these. Great if it is that you're using these and you don't maybe want to, you need to loosen your belt ever so slightly, or if it is that you're doing some bush crafting, you can put that through these loops, and it's like it's a little webbing loop, so that's there. Here as well, so here's that bunching that I mentioned. Here it is on the inside. Again, after a while it just kind of sits flat, no issues with that whatsoever. But yes, but these loops that are here that you can use to put some suspenders on here, those loops are also here as well, which is exactly the same on the combat pants. Another subtle difference between the two of these is where that back section is. So here, hopefully you'll see there that just sits maybe an inch or so higher than the belt as well. Now the belt is in exactly the same position, so it's in exactly the same position here, whereas with the field pants the material stops where the waist is, exactly at the top of the belt, whereas with the combat pants here it just sits higher than that. That just means that it will give you a little bit more comfort, and plus if it is that you're bending over and you're trying to climb in through the stupid stuff that we do whilst wearing combat pants, or these combat pants, then it just stops a lot of stuff kind of getting down the back of your trousers. The waist on here is exactly the same, so you still have 2, 4, 6 belt tabs on here. This is a 50mm garrison belt, and now I have made some content which is a deep dive into these, so if you'd like to see how these wear with a 2-layer gun belt and a leg holster, then I'll leave a link here so that you can see that on my other channel, Moorlander Tactical. But for these, they fit exactly the same. It still has a zip fly, which is a croco zip. It still has the same Canadian button here. The pockets on here are still absolutely massive and cavernous. You can fit an awful lot into these pockets. The only difference, and I will say I do genuinely miss it on these, is that second little pocket that I had, which I said is a little pocket, it's massive that I can fit my hands into. That is missing on these. Now the main reason for that is that there are other pockets around here that you could put those items into. However, if I could say anything to Varusteleka, I would just say put those extra pockets back in here as well. I don't think, if it costs an extra £2-3 or however much it does, then I think people would appreciate that. But as I mentioned, so they do have additional pockets. Now actually, let's get back to the pockets. So you have these pockets which are exactly the same between the field and the combat pants. They're huge. It's just with the combat pants you don't have those extra bits. On the thigh pockets you still have exactly the same. So you have these large thigh cargo pockets that have the same closures. So you have your hook and loop, and then you have your Canadian button on here, and then you have this huge gusseted pocket that you can fit an awful lot into. Now with these pockets, they are, or at least, I mean, I've not checked with a ruler, but they do feel ever so slightly more orientated, a little bit further around towards the kind of the mid thigh and maybe closer to the back. The reason for that is that you have these two thigh pockets here. These open just with hook and loop. There's no additional pocket on here. So if it is that you needed to put items in that you need to get quick access to, this is why this extra pocket isn't here. Especially if you're sitting down, if you're in a vehicle and you need to be able to get something out. With the field pants, if my mobile phone's in here and I'm sat down with my leg up like this, it's difficult to get my phone out of that pocket. Whereas if my phone was in here, then I certainly wouldn't struggle to get it out. The only difference is, if I just grab my mobile phone, is that this pocket is just a little bit too small to put my mobile phone into, which is a silly thing to say anyway. You're never really going to put something in if you are using these in a combat situation, you're never really going to put your mobile phone in here. You can have some additional packs, you can have some additional tools, you might even have some medical equipment in one of these pockets instead. But this pocket here on my left thigh is exactly the same as the pocket on here on my right thigh. Now at this moment in time, I've actually got some bungee in here, and this is the bungee. So to make sure that the length of the leg is just right on here, to make sure that your knee protection is in exactly the same place, the bungee system on the inside, if I undo this for a second, so that bungee system on the outside of the pocket here, there is a loop, and then there is another loop just here, just got that loop there. So what you can do is you can pass the bungee down there and then up to there, and then tie it at different lengths to make sure that your knee is at exactly the right height. As I mentioned though, so these are a regular leg, which is a 32 inch, and I don't have any issues with them, so I just took that bungee out and I've just kept it in those pockets just in the meantime. Coming down to the knee, so the knee is exactly the same. You still have some more Cordura, or you still have that Cordura on here. There is also the opening here at the bottom, so if you want to put a knee pad into here, then you can do as well. The difference with these is though, here on the back of your calf, so you do have some adjustment here on your calf to make sure that everything stays in place. Now really that adjustment on the back is so that when you're taking a knee, that your knee pad will be in the correct position so that you don't have to concern yourselves and you can just take a knee quickly. What this will do is, well actually I've done it ever so slightly for today, but that will sit that there. Right, so I'm moving that around. It's sat just at the top of my gastrocnemius here, my calf, sorry, and it sits just right. Whereas with the field pants, you don't have these. Let's just put these back to where I had them before. I took these off mainly because when the last time I was skirmishing with these, I just undid those as I was taking them off. But yes, they do an excellent job of making sure that they stay in place. Then coming down to the outer calf here, you then also have a small calf pocket here, and this is exactly the same on both sides. So again, if you need to take a knee and you've got some items in here, generally medical equipment or things that you need to be able to get when you're in a certain position like that, then you can get instant access to these. After that though, pretty much the same. So you come down to the bottom, you've got some more Cordura on here. You still have the same hook and loop here as well. The addition with these is though, so with the field pants, it's just Cordura here around the hem. With the combat pants, this Cordura extends with an additional panel all the way up here. So if it is that you're running, all of this rubbing, if it is that you're lying down, if you're in a shooting position whilst prone, this will just make sure that all this part here to roughly to the top of your boot, make sure that that's protected against whatever it is that this is rubbing against, to make sure that this prolongs the lifetime of your pants. So there you have it, whether you go for the L4 field pants or the L4 combat pants, I'm pretty positive you're going to be happy with these. Certainly what I've found from Varusteleka is that they make excellent gear. One of the other things that I forgot to mention earlier as well is that Varusteleka have recently had a campaign where they have moved all of their manufacturing back here into Europe. So originally these were made in China, but they're now made here in Poland. Varusteleka, they have a few different places. They have a manufacturing in Poland, they have some in Estonia, and they also have some in Finland. There might be a fourth place, but they're the ones that I definitely know for sure. And as you'd expect, it is absolutely awesome gear, and the fact that it's made here, sourced here, produced here in Europe, I think is another good kind of tick for Varusteleka and their gear. So yeah, super happy with these. And now, as I mentioned, so the L4 combat pants, I have done a deep dive into those on my other channel, Moorlander Tactical, so I will leave a link to that, where we look at like different belts and different things that you can wear with these. So yes, of course, I'll leave a link for that. I'll leave a link to these, so if you want to have a look on the Varusteleka website where you can pick these up from, I'll leave those links. I'll also leave some of my social media links so that you can see more from me here on Moorlander EDC, and my sister channel Moorlander Tactical, which I've mentioned a few times today, but you should definitely go and find Moorlander Tactical. Yeah, I'll leave those links below, and whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. We have the L4. It is, I should say Sarma TST, shouldn't I? Let's check. I should say Sarma TST. Collection. Screenshots. Field trousers. Combat trousers. Doesn't say Sarma. Well, we'll go without Sarma. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we will be talking about pants. I don't know why I did the long breath between about and pants. I'll do that again. This is Moorlander EDC. Today we're going to be talking about pants, specifically pants. Why are you being a fucking knobhead now? Come on. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander EDC. I forgot where I was. You're an idiot. Not going to be unhappy with... That was a double negative. Let's start that again. That was weird. So there you have it, whether you go for the L4... I think this is coming out on the Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's coming out on Sunday, because the L4 combat pants should come out on the Friday. So I need to make sure they come out first, so that they're available, so that you can watch these if you've watched these. Yeah, so cool. Hope you all had a good Sunday. Yeah, hope you all had a good Sunday. It just goes so quickly, doesn't it, the weekend? I think even if we had a 3-day weekend, it would still probably go really quickly. But such is life. Anyway, yeah, I hope you're good, and I'll see you all soon.